I feel bad for Led Zeppelin, man. Like, they're such a great band, but I just do not give them the credit that they deserve. And I really can't help it. I have a theory, though, as to why. Why a band like Led Zeppelin over time, just, I don't know. But of course, a band like the Beatles, I'll still fuck with the way that I do. And here's my theory, right? I think it's because Led Zeppelin tried, or didn't try, they very, very successfully did make power music, intense music. Not to say that the Beatles didn't record one or two intense songs, but that was like Led Zeppelin's shtick. They took themselves very seriously. So the thing I notice about power music is like it evolves to be more powerful over time. When the next acts come out, they always have Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, and then later like AC/DC and even Rush and like all these other people to kind of look back on and try to take it up, a step further, make it harder, make it more distorted, get more bass and bass drum in there. And that's how that game goes. So the thing with that style of music, in my opinion, metal music, it's difficult for it to age well because people are always trying to push the envelope with that. It isn't melodic, so it's not. It of course it has melodic shit to it. That's not what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Where it's like Led Zeppelin sounds hard, but then Black Sabbath and then like AC/DC and like Metallica. You just can't keep up with the way that production will improve over time. That is essential to making this hard sound. In fact, the whole heavy metal scene only appeared because the electronics were there for that stuff now. So why, like, when I listen to them, they're like, I can't get into it. Despite all of those things, I have an easier time. Like, Black Sabbath sounds cool to me still. And I think it was because, like, it was just so... Like, it's hard to explain. They take themselves seriously too, but not in the same way that Led Zeppelin takes themselves seriously. Because something about, like, the Satan will find you, like, that type of lyrics, it's kind of, like, comical now, you know what I mean? A little cheesy. Whereas Led Zeppelin was just, like, too much sex appeal and trying to be too serious, where now, in, like, hindsight, a lot of it looks kind of campy or kind of shtick. Because Led Zeppelin was the originator of a lot of this stuff, but from my point of view, I have grown up in a very Led Zeppelin world. So none of it, like, I always say how you have to appreciate things in, like, the context and time that they were made, and I try to do that. But there's just things that Led Zeppelin does, especially the stuff that relates to, like, the arena rock scene, that I just can't, like, it's just been ruined. I'll give you an example. The live show gimmick of the singer and the guitarist doing like dueling licks, like that stuff was probably really fun and cool when it like first started happening in the early 70s. But by the time I was like coming around, this has already been lampooned heavily in like all cartoons and media. And so when you like look back, when I look back and I see Robert Plant doing that to Jimmy Page, I just like, you know what I mean? But like people weren't really doing that a lot then. I mean, probably were in like the blues world, but not anything that was crossing over into like the mainstream scene. So it was probably cool for a live show, but stuff like that. But then I think like the ultimate thing that keeps me from really being like a huge Led Zeppelin fan is Robert Plant. I've always loved Jimmy Page. I love his work in Led Zeppelin, up and down. Led Zeppelin is really just like it's a super group, everybody in that group is like one of the greatest musicians on that instrument in all of rock. And that is not done by accident, Nobody says that at all about any of the Beatles. Like, George Harrison is the only one of those guys that ranks anywhere with anybody in terms of like musicianship on an instrument. But Robert Plant, though, it's too, like, it's the same thing that I was saying with the other thing. It's become so campy to me now with, like, the tight jeans and, like, the bulge. And he was, like, one of the, like, originators of that type of shit, But I think that it's just become so, like, cliche. And, like, Led Zeppelin is, like, the icon of that shtick, you know? And so that's kind of why, like, but I don't even think it'd be a big deal. Like, I don't think I'd dislike Robert Plant as much if he didn't take himself so seriously. Like, Ozzy Osbourne, those guys, Black Sabbath, that was some intense stuff and intense lyrics, but because it was so devil worshipy, it's kind of like not goofy, but like seeing like Tommy Iommi or whatever his name is playing the guitar with his crazy long hair, and Ozzy just like fat face. You know, he just got done eating a big cheeseburger, but then he comes out and say to laughing spicy. You know, like that shit's awesome. It was funny. You could like smile to it because it's like they're taking themselves seriously, but you're not. But I think that Led Zeppelin, they took themselves seriously, and then they're trying to get you to take them seriously with them. And like that's just where it lost me a little bit. And then when it aged over time, there wasn't any type of ironic, funny factor. You know, the Beatles stayed fun and lighthearted pretty much their whole career, so there was no taking themselves too seriously. You could come back later and totally enjoy it because it's fun. It makes you smile, and the Black Sabbath stuff makes you smile while you headbang. But then Led Zeppelin has this like style of like we're getting drunk at the bar, woman, I'm gonna leave you. And like I don't fuck with that shit. It doesn't make me smile. It doesn't like rock out. The things I like about Led Zeppelin is pure musical appreciation. Like I listen to Jimmy, and I listen to the other guys, and I'm like, dang, they're amazing. And I love songs like No Quarter. Like, you know, there's some songs in the days of my youth. You know, they got some great jams. But they're always ones that like make me smile a little bit and aren't just so like drunk metal bar stuff. So I don't know, I just want to get that off my chest. Like whenever I go to rank best bands and do stuff like that, I just like Led Zeppelin I just bring with me as like I'm aware of the fact I need to put them there. But never in my life have I been like a big fan of theirs, and as like a whole thing, right? I just pick and choose the things that I enjoy of theirs, but I don't find them nearly as like interesting as Pink Floyd. Like Pink Floyd albums are amazing, and like the whole take was different, right? Pink Floyd was always focusing their music on their prior singer, Sid Barrett, you know, and so like they weren't. They were taking themselves seriously, but like for somebody else's sake, you could just feel a lot of those energies, right? Something about Led Zeppelin though, like I just don't like Robert Plant. Like he thinks he's so much cooler than he is. He was just in this band and got to frontman it and got super famous and thinks he is the god, right, of rock and metal. And he's just so pretentious to me because of that. Because he's just a frontman singer guy. It's like picked out of a lineup. Yo, you got the look, you got the bulge, you got the pipes, sing our songs. You know, but he struts around like he's on the same level as like Ozzy Osbourne or something, you know, and like I don't think that they deserve to be in the same conversation. Robert Plant also, like people disagree with me on this a lot, and if you've seen Led Zeppelin live, first of all I'm gonna assume you're a way bigger fan of theirs than I've ever been. You're also probably older than me. And you also, you're probably more biased about it because we're already a fan. You're older. You're part of that generation. You don't have the benefit of like hindsight that I do. But I think they're trash live, and specifically Robert Plant. I absolutely cannot stand when a live act can't come close to reproducing the studio act because the singer can't actually sing that way. Cannot actually sing. And it's weird that you can't sing like this because it's not even that hard to do. No, I'm not going to downplay his vocal abilities. Robert Plant's an amazing vocalist. But he just, like, when they go live, it's like he's struggling, you know? He's struggling big time. Everything comes down an octave. It doesn't have the same, like, sound. And that's the worst thing. It's like you want to hear the song that you like. You don't want to hear the band unable to perform their own song. So, like, he, to me, was also the originator of the lackluster live show. Not to say that seeing Led Zeppelin live wouldn't change your life. It's just my own opinion on his vocal abilities when live. I think that he kind of masks over the fact that he doesn't have that range or control by just doing really, like, really emotional or energetic stuff, I guess you could say. So, that's my 2 cents on Led Zeppelin. I felt like I needed to explain myself as a hobbyist musician and lover of music in general. I wouldn't even put them in my top 10 because I don't find them to be an organic band. I don't. I think that if you took all the best musicians and Jimmy Page and shit, you know, this shit happens, man. But oh well, that's my point of view. What do I know? So, cheers. Curious what y'all think about Led Zeppelin.